Hi, I'm Bert Sheffield and I'm going to talk to you tonight a little Christmas story, a really personal Christmas story to me from my childhood. It's about the best Christmas present I ever had. I thought I would take you on a journey around my neighbourhood so you can look at all the holiday lights that are up in people's gardens. I find it really nice and relaxing. It's a really nice part of my evening, taking my dog for a walk and going past all the crazy, beautiful, twinkly and also quite gaudy Christmas lights. I hope you're somewhere nice and warm and you're all comfortable, and I'm going to begin this little story. It was December the 6th, 1986. And my mum picked me up from school, and it was a really normal day. It was winter here in the UK, and I'd been at school all day. It'd be a totally normal day. I had no idea. And Mum picked me up from school, and it was dark and rainy. And rather than going home, we went to my mum's friend's house. I used to love going to her house because it was out in the middle of nowhere. It was a beautiful sort of arts and crafty kind of manor house. And they had goats and sheep and chickens and geese. And they had a pond that the birds lived next to. And we used to ice skate on the pond in the winter. But this day, we went there and we went through the gates. We got met by their dogs. They had a Doberman, and we went through. In my mind, I can just see opening their big glass door, and there'd be the tinkle of the bell in the back door. Their quarry tiles in their kitchen. The kitchen was always lovely and warm because they had a big Aga. And there'd be dogs and people, and it was always full of light and beautiful Christmas baking smells and just a really lovely atmosphere. And I wondered a bit why Mother brought me here after school on this day. And it was obvious that something was up, but I didn't really know why. And it was really wet and really dark. So Mum and her friend, they had a cup of tea, and I think we had toast. I can remember having homemade goat butter on toast. I think there was some honey. We had that, and then we ventured out into the darkness. We went out of their back door, and we went through the long grass, past the goats. She had goats for milk, so they were really nice goats. They were used to being handled. And we went through the gate into the field where her daughter's pony was and the sheep. And it was really muddy. I can remember having to wade through the mud in my school uniform, but with my welly boots on. I can remember it sucking at my feet, struggling to get across the mud, slipping and sliding, with a torch on those little tiny square torches that had the big square battery inside them. Tried to shine my way across the mud and not fall over and not bump into sheep that come over to see what we were doing, or carry the Highland pony that had come over to see what was going on. And we ventured across the field to the field shelter. Now, field shelter was just a cobbled together wooden building. Not very big, but it had straw inside, and I don't think it had a light. I can't remember there being a light. I think we were still under torchlight, and it was really muddy around the outside, but it had straw in the middle, and it usually had the door open so that Kerry and the sheep could go in and out as they wanted to, so they could get out of the weather and get warm and have dry feet, and Kerry could eat his hay. But the door was shut. So we went across, we opened the door, and inside the door was a surprise for me. There was a pony in there. Now this pony, I can remember not really being able to see him. I could just see his eyes in the torchlight. I remember him being really scared and him kind of flying about a bit inside the stable, obviously really worried about being there. And he was soaking wet, absolutely soaking wet, because it was a dreadful day. It was one of those real English winter days where you're drenched through to the skin and it's cold and it's windy. And this pony was stood in the stable, and that was going to be my first pony. Now I could only see him in the torchlight, so Mum said he was a bay pony, which is his body colour was brown and he'd have black mane and tail and black legs. But in the torchlight he looked kind of gold. Now I had always wanted a dun or a buckskin pony. They have a gold coloured coat and black mane and black legs. When I first learnt to ride, the pony I rode was called Patch, and Patch was a skewbald. That is, he was brown, black and white. He was a little gypsy pony, but he was very safe and he took great care of me. But the pony at the riding school that I thought was the most beautiful pony in the world ever was a little tiny Arab cross pony called Primrose, and Primrose was yellow. She was yellow gold dun, absolutely stunning. And I remember her thinking she was just the most beautiful thing. So I was absolutely so hoping that this pony that I was told was mine was the same colour as Primrose, which that made him look gold. But that pony came to be my best friend for so many years. I was only just 6 when I got him, and he lived with us until he died when he was in his 20s when he died. He was 9 when I got him, and he had been living out in a herd for all his life. He'd been out with his mother and his siblings, and my mum had found him and bought him for me. So we had a really long journey together, not dissimilar to the journey that Wonky and I have had, where Scamp and I had to learn how to communicate with each other, how to trust each other. I had to learn a lot about horse behaviour, stuff you'd never learn at a riding school. And he became the most amazing pony for me. He didn't like to jump, so we ended up, that sort of took me towards the dressage. But I used to spend hours with that pony. We used to lie down in his stable with him. I used to sit up on his manger, on his feed trough, and read him stories. I used to lie on him. I was spent hours and hours, all holidays with him, after school, and we were just best friends. We went on all sorts of adventures together, and we had the most amazing time. And after I outgrew him, it was a real wrench, because I didn't really know what to do with him. My mum taught him to drive, so he drove a little cart, but he was just the most wonderful pony and the best Christmas present you could ever have. I hope you enjoyed my little Christmas story about the best Christmas present I have ever had, and how he was a completely life-changing Christmas present who took me from a little girl who loved ponies to a little girl who was owned by a pony. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, and we'll see you again in the new year.